Hey guys, Johnny from JTK Gaming, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today we have a simple, quick, easy, and fun video for you guys, and it's my favorite Monster Helm sets for the game. It was set up as a top 5 because, everyone loves top 5s or top 10s or whatever, but I got to the fifth one and I couldn't really think of like a fifth one that I personally are like in love with, that I really like, that I use on a regular basis. So I asked around and I put the top 3 Monster Helms in number 5 that you guys recommended to me. So let's basically get straight into it. And at number 1, remember guys, this isn't really in order like 1 to 5. It's kind of just in any kind of order. But anyway, number 1 is Infernal Guardian. Every Magic build should know about Infernal Guardian. It is uh, one of the sets that I've ran on pretty much every Magic build I've ever had, besides like a healer and a tank. But any DPS Magic build, I've ran this on them at some point. It's got a great 1-piece, max magic, and the 2-piece basically lobs fireballs at your enemies, and it's procced off a 50% chance when you activate your shield. So if you're like shield stacking 2 shields at the same time, you've basically got a 100% chance of proccing this. And it goes to the furthest enemy, and it's got an AoE splash dam. It will not really splash. The whole 5-meter blast area is impacted by the damage. The damage is pretty decent. But yeah, there's not really much else to say about this. It's really good on any magic build, any DPS magic build, because most magic builds should be running shields of some description, so you've got a way of proccing it, and of course it's really good on sorcs. It really shines on sorcerers. But that's it. Before we get much further into this video, let's get some background stuff happening, because you don't want to stare at this same thing for the whole video. So let's get a bit of footage of my missus PvPing. She's made a few videos, and I thought I would show one of them here. Anyway, number 2 is the Dominar set, or however you pronounce it. Have a go at me in the comments for butchering that name. But at the moment, this is my favorite Monster Helm set. It is just really, really good in dueling situations, and in any kind of situation where you want to hold your ground. It's got the best 1-piece in the game. It gives you 1,000 stamina and 1,000 magicka. That's just way better than any other 1-piece in the game, and a lot of people run it just for the 1-piece. And I don't know what Zos was thinking when they did that. But anyway, when you deal damage, you have a 15% chance to create a ring of molten earth around you for 10 seconds, which deals 1,000 flame damage or 1,000 physical damage once every second. Standing in the ring grants you 200 spell damage or 200 weapon damage. This effect can occur once every 15 seconds. So it's got a pretty decent uptime, and the dot's nice, and the spell damage is really good on top of that. But you gotta remember guys, you're getting that 1-piece as well in this package. So when you combine it all, it really does add up to be a really good Monster Helm set, and I really like it. I'm running it on my current build right now. So the third one is and has to be the all-time greatest group Magic builds Monster Helm set. This is great in larger groups where you need that AoE DPS. They use it in PvE, but we're mainly talking about PvP here. it is just great for AoE DPS. And the way it works is it procs off you dealing damage. So obviously you need to be a DPS for this set. And it deals 1,800 flame damage to all enemies within 8 meters for every second for 5 seconds. This occur every 10 seconds. So it's got probably a 40% uptime, so it's got decent uptime. But the AoE damage is just really good. And yeah. So number 4 is Vulcan Scoria. Now, Vulcan Scoria is one of the sets that probably doesn't have, you know, as many options as far as like different builds, different classes, and that kind of stuff. But it is a really good magic set. It offers so much burst that it is just unbelievable. Well, it's not unbelievable, but it's really nice. And it applies a good dot as well. So when you deal damage over time effects, other known as dots, you have an 8% chance to summon a meteor that deals 9,000 flame damage to target and a 4,000 flame damage to all other enemies within 5 meters. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. Okay, so it doesn't have the dot. When I said the dot, I was thinking of the AoE damage that it does. But anyway, and you got to remember, guys, that these numbers are all stock numbers before they're procced and that kind of stuff. So obviously, Magic DKs is where this set shines. Pretty much every Magic DK runs Vulcan Scoria. You can run it on other builds, like there's some Magic Templars out there that run a lot of dots and stuff like that. Basically, any build that has a lot of dots, you can run Vulcan Scoria. So, next up, guys, I asked around and asked you guys kind of what you thought would be the, in the top 5. Obviously, I took out the 4 that was already there, and these were the top picks that you guys suggested. So number 1's Troll King. Now, Troll King was on my mind for, the number 5 place, just because of the tankiness that it gives you and the survivability that it gives you. So the one piece is debatably not that great. It adds 2% healing done, but as I said, it's debatable. When you heal a friendly target, if they are still below 60% health, their health recovery is increased by 1,500 for 10 seconds. Okay, so there's not much else to say to that. As I said, if they've already got a decent health recovery, like Vamps, this doesn't really do much for Vamps, but it just adds survivability. Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn was one that, it was probably the highest picked one besides some of the ones that were already in top 4. Now, when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate 14 ultimate and increase your physical and spell resistance by 6,400 for 6 seconds. This effect can occur once every 6 seconds. So obviously this is, all about that ultimate regen, and, physical and spell resistance is a bonus in a lot of people's eyes. The one piece is stamina recovery, so, that really does not that much for a magic build, but that stamina recovery can be nice, especially if you're running a low stam pool. If you're running like 11k or something like that, that stam recovery can be a lifesaver. And this can be ran on pretty much any build that, in my mind, that would be taking a lot of damage, In duels, it still can be good, but you want to be running this in kind of like a 1vx situation to get the most out of it. And that's Bloodspawn. The last one, well, almost the last one we have is Moloch Kenner. Now, Moloch Kenner is, not talked about that much these days, but it is still really good. It was used a lot back in the day, and it was used a lot for a reason. And basically, when you deal 2 consecutive light attacks, you trigger overkill for 6 seconds, which increases your weapon and spell damage by 500, but also increases the cost of your abilities by 20%. So, if this is used right and correctly, it can be really dangerous. It can give you a high amount of burst. It's going to give you good sustained DPS if you can keep that resources up to, keep the DPS going. But it is deadly. You see this among gank builds more than anything, but that's not to say that any other build couldn't use it if used correctly. So yeah, and the thing I like about it is you can kind of control when you get that spell damage. A lot of sets, a lot of things, um, you don't necessarily control their like procs and things like that, so it's up to chance. But this you can control. So say you got a full magic bar and you've got all that magic burn, you can proc this. But say if you're really low on magic, you don't have to proc this. So the final and last one is, now that that video is finished, we can get this out of the way. Is Zan. Now Zan, I tested like back in the day, it hasn't been that long, but the first or second day of the PTS, and it wasn't that great. I made a forum post about it, how it wasn't working, like the 50% increase wasn't working correctly. So I don't know what they've done, but it is so strong. It's been banned in Legends dueling competitions, and that basically says it all. And I was fighting a guy earlier today. It is hitting harder than most people's soul assaults. And the problem with that is they can still do DPS on top of this. Like I had to stay away out of this radius or I was dead basically. So what it exactly does is when you deal critical damage with light or heavy attack to nearby enemies, a beam of fire will connect you to your enemy. The beam deals 3,400 flame damage. That's a joke. Every 1 second for 5 seconds, every second. This damage increases by 50%. The beam is broken if the enemy moves at 10 meters away from you. The effect can occur every 15 seconds. So as I said, and as I've got written there, if you want to be that guy, that guy that just uses some overpowered stuff because he's making up for a lack of skill, basically, that guy. We all know one, and yeah. If they fix it and stop it from being OP, it could be a useful set in some builds. Some builds that have got high crit mainly. Like if you go super low crit, the proc chance on this is going to be pretty low. But anyway, that's basically my Monster Helm roundup, guys. I'll do a stamina one. I definitely want to do a stamina one. But tell me in the descriptions, what Monster Helm I missed and how much of an idiot I am for not including your favorite Monster Helm. And, explain to me why your Monster Helm is your favorite and why you thought it should be on this list. And that's all I've got to say, guys. Once again, Johnny from JTK Gaming. Peace.